Welcome to Berry Berry Life. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button below for more great content. If you've already subscribed, just want to say thank you for supporting us. If you like this recipe, please click the like button and let us know in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's talk chili. No, not the weather outside, even though it is cold. I'm talking about the stuff of country fair contests and cookouts. That stuff that the cowboys are always making over a campfire. I'm talking about beef chili. Vegan beef chili, that is. That's right, we're gonna make beef chili with plant-based protein. We're going to make a spicy, earthy, stick-to-your-ribs meaty chili with all vegan ingredients. So let's get started. For this recipe, we're actually going to make our own homemade chili powder. This has tons of flavor, and it's super easy to make. To make chili powder, we're going to need some dried chilies, along with some herbs and spices. We're going to use ancho chilies. These are poblano chilies, smoked and dried. We'll also use some dried Mexican chilies. These are spicier and will add a bit of color. Along with cumin powder. This is a classic chili powder ingredient. Paprika for more color and heat. Some coriander powder. Granulated garlic. Oregano for that earthier flavor. A little bit of thyme. And finely ground black pepper for even more spiciness. If you're making the chili on the same day, go ahead and add some corn tortilla chips. This will help thicken the chili. Traditionally, masa is used, but if you can't find masa, tortilla chips work just as well. Before we grind the chili powder, we're going to need to break the chilies apart into small pieces and toast them. Try to find the chilies that are still a little flexible. If they're too dry, then they've lost a lot of flavor. We want to get rid of as many seeds as possible, along with the stems. Removing the seeds helps during toasting. These seeds tend to burn, and that's not the flavor we want in the chili powder. As you can see, these chilies have a lot of seeds. In a large pot, we're using our Dutch oven here. Set the heat to low. Add the chilies and toast the chilies until they're fragrant. This will take a few minutes. Keep stirring so the chilies don't burn. When the chilies are ready, the kitchen should smell like peppers. These look to be done. Let them cool for a few minutes before grinding. When toasted, you want the chilies to be crunchy. Add the chilies and the spices to the processor along with the corn chips and grind everything to a fine consistency. Since we're making the chili today, we'll also add the tortilla chips. If you're making the powder for storage, skip the tortilla chips. You can always grind the chips later directly into the chili. That looks great. The chili powder is done. Now we can move on to making the actual chili. This recipe is super simple with very few ingredients coming together in one pot. For this, we're going to need some onions and some garlic, along with oil and our homemade chili powder. can of pinto beans, and a can of kidney beans, along with their canning liquid, which will help the chili thicken, along with a can of whole peeled tomatoes, which will puree. As mentioned, this is going to be a vegan beef chili. So replacing the beef, we're going to use plant-based Impossible protein. If you can't find this package, we have also tried making this with Impossible meatballs that we've cooked and crumbled, and salt to taste. Before we start cooking, let's go ahead and puree the tomatoes in a processor. If you already have pureed tomatoes, that's one less step. On the stove, heat up a large pot over medium heat. We love to use our Dutch oven for this recipe. Add some oil and let it heat up. Then add the Impossible plant-based protein. You'll be surprised to see how similar to beef this cooks. With a spoon, break the protein into crumbles and allow them to brown. We just don't want any large pieces. It doesn't take long to brown, only a few minutes. The protein doesn't come with a lot of salt, so we should add it now to give it some flavor. You'll notice some of the protein sticking to the bottom. That's called fond. It's a good thing. It'll add more flavor to the chili. Now add the onions and the garlic. And keep stirring like those cowboys. We want to let the onions and the garlic soften and allow the protein to absorb those flavors. We have even more fond forming at the bottom. More fond means more flavor. It's okay to be fond of the fond. With the onions and the garlic softened, we can add our freshly homemade chili powder. This seems like a lot of chili powder, but it's not. It's just a lot of flavor. Mix the powder into the protein and the onions, and you'll be rewarded with some beautiful color coming off of that chili powder. Keep stirring and allow the flavor of the chili powder to be infused in the oil. The fat is what carries the flavor. Now we can add the tomato puree and mix that in. Now we can add the pinto beans and the dark red kidney beans along with their canning liquid. That canning liquid will also help thicken the gravy, along with the tortilla chips. We'll also add 2 cups of water. This will help meld all the flavors together during cooking. Thoroughly mix everything and increase the heat to high and bring it to a boil. We'll cover it with a lid to bring it to boil even faster. It's been a few minutes. The chili should be boiling now. That's good. Give everything a nice stir and make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. Now we'll lower the heat to low and cook for about 30 minutes. Great thing about cast iron is it holds a lot of heat, and that heavy lid creates a pressure cooker effect. It's been about 30 minutes. Let's have a look. First thing you'll notice is the smell. It smells amazing, and it has reduced and thickened nicely. Now we'll add our secret ingredient. Chipotle chili peppers in adobo sauce. Chipotle chilies are smoked and dried jalapenos, and they come packed in a tangy, spicy adobo sauce. These take the chili to another level, with spiciness and smokiness and that little bit of tang. We'll give these a fine chop and toss them into the chili. Don't forget to add any of that leftover adobo sauce. It has lots of flavor, no need to waste it. So far, we haven't added a lot of salt. We wanted to wait for the chili to reduce. So now let's check for seasoning. This needs a little bit more salt. We'll give that a good mix. Now we'll close the lid and cook for another 15 minutes, allowing all the flavors to meld. After another 15 minutes, the chili should be done. This is perfect. We'll turn off the heat and allow the chili to cool before serving. If the chili looks a little thin, know that it will thicken even more as it cools. This chili looks and smells amazing. That thickness is what we're looking for along with the flavors. We're going to ladle it into a large bowl that we have affectionately dubbed the chili bowl. And top it off with our favorite fixins. You have to refer to them as fixins and not toppings. It's the law of the chili. It's all very official. The cowboys would not approve. Today we'll add some red and green onions, along with some freshly shredded sharp cheddar cheese, with a heavy dollop of sour cream, and some cilantro for freshness. Let's dig in. It's pretty thick, really holds on to the spoon. Is your mouth watering yet? Just imagine these on some nachos or a vegan chili cheese dog. It's so smoky, spicy, with that tang from the adobo sauce and tomatoes. Just unbelievable. Well, not just unbelievable, impossible. You can also serve this on a bed of spaghetti, as a certain famous restaurant does in Cincinnati. With a mountain of shredded cheese. There you have it, the impossible vegan chili. Hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you try this recipe, be sure to comment below, as well as tag us on Instagram at BerryBerryLife.